Okay, now for lens here, okay, as you've seen before, we talked about the convex and the concave. In our syllabus, we only will be looking at the convex lens and we'll only be looking at the thin convex lens. So most of the time, how do we draw it? Okay, so you're gonna have the lens that's looking like this. Okay, sorry, quite ugly. Now, just think of it as when you want to draw a lens diagram, as again, lens diagram, where your lens will automatically be converted into something like this. So this is your lens, this is also your lens. Now, in the middle of the lens, when we draw a straight line through it, a straight line through it, this straight line here is what we call your principal axis. Alright, principal axis. So this straight line through is what we call principal axis, is at the center of a lens. Alright, it's perpendicular to the lens and is at the center. Now, one last thing you need to know is this, is that when parallel light beam comes in, it will all cut at a common point. Ugly lines here, they'll all cut through a point. Same thing, draw. It will all cut through a point. This point here, okay, this point over here, is what we call your focal point. Right, focal point. And we normally label it as a capital F. Okay, capital F. So in actual fact, every time you want to draw a lens diagram, you'll always draw your principal axis. Okay? Then you always draw this thing here. F. F. Okay, another common thing they'll tend to do is rather than writing a capital F, they'll tend to write a small f. Now, big F stands for the focal point. Small f represents the focal length. And what is the focal length? It's just the distance between the center of the lens to the focal point. So it's actually a distance. Let me erase this one to make it look nicer. Okay, it should be a same distance here, so try to get it right there. Okay, so normally you insert the lens, the principal axis, the focal length, and we'll tend to have one more, which is double the focal length, 2f. Yeah. So if this is f, okay, from the lens to here is f, 2f just means double the distance. Okay, it's just double the distance. There's nothing really significant about it, like, for example, whatever focal axis. Okay, just ignore all of that. Just know that it's double the focal length. That's all. So most of the time, whenever you want to draw a lens diagram, this is what you need for a start. Right? This is definitely needed. So I've taught you that we're going to use a convex lens all the time. And I've translated it as to how the lens will look like in your ray diagram. I talked about the center line here, we call it the principal axis. The point where all the light ray converts is what we call the focal point. And then whenever we draw a lens diagram, okay, we must always have all of the elements in, inclusive of f and 2f. And you must draw it on both sides of it. Okay, so this is the introduction to your lens diagram.